Laughing Vikings Live. High vibe chats with actors, comedians, and creators, plus stand-up comedy, sketch comedy, and most importantly, you. That's right, join us every Monday for new episodes, and you can be a part of the show on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Twitch. Ask questions and interact in the comments, and make sure to share this with your actor, comedian, and creator friends so they can be a part of the show too. Can't make a live show? No problem. You can catch up on your favorite podcast platform and visit laughingvikings.com to find out how you can join the cast and crew. All right, it's time for today's show. Buckle up and make sure you stick around to the end because we have a special surprise for you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is Laughing Vikings Live. Happy Monday Fun Day. Let's go.
Hello, everybody. Here we are. We're back at it again. Monday Fun Day, episode 47. Is that right?
Yeah.
We're getting up there. We're almost to the big 50. We're going to have a golden anniversary in 3 weeks.
Yeah, we'll have to get a cake or something.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Or maybe we should just have a cake every episode.
I'd love that.
Cake
we should
podcast.
do that.
I don't know. That's a little too much cake. Might have to be healthy cake. We'll make like protein bar cake or something. Is that a thing?
Cake. Carrot cake.
Is there such a thing as healthy cake? I don't know if there is a thing as healthy cake, but I think we need to start a cake.
I know my mom makes a gluten-free chocolate cake that she loves.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
Mrs. BK Broiler, I am requesting for the Laughing Vikings podcast a gluten-free chocolate cake.
Okay.
Is she watching right now?
Maybe. Who knows?
Maybe. Nice. Well, welcome everyone. Welcome to the show. We got a great show. We got an incredible guest. We're going to bring her on shortly. But first, let's talk about a few things on the weekend. We had some fantastic shows here in Comedy Alley on Thursday night. We had the first Ladies' Night of Laughter hosted by Sabrina Douglas. And we had Keisha Brownie. Who else do we have on that show? Keisha Brownie, Brandon Ash, Martha Chavez, and Hodo Hersey. And it was great. It was fantastic. New vibe in the alley here. And the next one of those is going to be September 16th, Thursday, September 16th. Sabrina is going to host one of those monthly female comedians, some of the country's best, and also LGBTQ2S friendly comics. And so you can hit that up. And then we had a Friday show and a Saturday show. Friday was really fun, but there wasn't really an audience. So it was one of those shows that's mostly comedians, which a lot of people do not like. But we just plowed forward with it. It was one of those shows where it was the show must go on. But the cool thing is we've got the live stream audience. So we were still able to have fun with the live stream and everyone was still able to get some stage time. Nice. And Saturday night was really cool. I got to keep staying over to the side here. Saturday night was very cool because I had some friends in the audience, Ray and Brian Kennington, who are both actors, and Brian is also a writer and getting some of his. He's got 2 feature films sort of in development / their scouting locations and sort of putting the production schedule together. So that was neat. And then what else we had? There was a couple in the audience. It's like there's always somebody celebrating either a birthday or an anniversary, which is always cool. So it was just another one of those magic special nights on Saturday, which is kind of the vibe we're trying to create. And then show the picture of the front here. We upgraded our aesthetics. Boom! There we are. Doing a little barking. We roll out the red carpet for you. So every Friday and Saturday we have shows at 9 p.m. And then occasionally we have the odd special show like Ladies' Night. But we put out that red carpet so that people, when they're walking by, they're like, what is happening in this place? And it was great. We actually got several new people coming to the show and discovering us along Queen Street, just right at Queen and Broadview. If you're in the Riverside area, look for the red carpet, look for the velvet rope, and look for the pug out front. Luna actually was working the door by herself a little bit. There was a couple times where I had her sort of tied off to the chair, but she just sat on the chair, and I would like run up to check on something or run up to grab something from the studio. And she was just sitting out there manning the door. So yeah, it was really cool. So go to laughingvikings.com/comedy alley. Reminder though, we have a limit. There's a capacity of 20 seats. So the seating is very limited. We've had a few full shows where it was sold out or where we've had to turn away people at the door. So make sure to reserve your seats at laughingvikings.com/comedy alley. And if you're a friend of the podcast, you can use promo code FRIEND. That'll get you 50% off your ticket. So you can grab a bunch of friends. We also offer those group birthday packages. So you can grab 9 of your friends plus you if you're the birthday person and come on out here and celebrate in Comedy Alley. Yes. And we should mention, we do have a special show coming up this August 29th, Sunday, August 29th. This one's going to be a little different. This is our first afternoon show. And it's also sort of it's not solely comedy based. It's Free Flow Showcase, which are friends of mine that run these regular shows. They ran them a lot on Zoom, and now they're back to doing live shows. So this it's hard to say it. Free Flow Showcase and open mic. It's Annie Carter's birthday show. She's an artist herself as well. So they're celebrating her birthday as one of the producers of Free Flow Showcase. And there's going to be comedy, spoken word, poetry, music, storytelling, and I'm always blown away by the talent. Like I'm always blown away by the acting and comedy talent in Toronto. But every Free Flow, I can't even say it. Free Flow. Is this like it's one of those? This is like one of those voice and speech things. Free Flow Showcase. Free Flow Showcase. Free Flow Showcase. There we go. I'm always blown away by the talent. Toronto has ridiculous talent. Their vocalists are amazing. Their storytellers are amazing. Their poets are amazing. So if you want to come to a show that's maybe a little deeper than our regular stand-up shows, they're always very heart-centric, very arts-focused, and there's a lot of love and good vibes. There's a little bit of snapping. You'll definitely hear some beatnik snapping. And so the doors open at 3, and I think the show is looking to start at 3:30. But the ticket link is under the same link. If you go to Comedy Alley, Laughing Vikings Let me try that again. I think I'm having a stroke. Is it the heat? I think I have a heat stroke. I was at the beach earlier. It is laughingvikings.com/comedy alley. It's right up on the screen. And go to August 29th. You'll see the link for Free Flow Showcase. And tickets are $25 to come to that, but we've got a limit of 20, and there's already a handful sold. So those tickets are going to go fast. If you're any kind of artist, again, storytelling, poetry, comedy, music, it's amazing. And you might cry at some point, you might laugh at some point, and you'll probably leave with a bunch of new artist friends in the Toronto community. So check that out. Ooh, we got some people in the live stream. If you're watching on the live stream right now, let us know where you're watching from throughout the show. If you have questions for us about Laughing Vikings, Comedy Alley, or our guests, be sure to pipe up, and we'll bring you a part of the show. Adam Daniel Mazet says, it's none other than Lars the Good, and BK Broila. Hooah!
Yeah.
All right, we got Pacino, Adam Daniel Pacino on the line here. And then we've got RI Broadcasting. Ooh, that looks like a new lister. Hello, RI. Oh, from Twitch. Good for you, Twitch. We Twitch. Tell all your Twitch friends to tune in. If you're an actor, comedian, artist, either in the Toronto area or internationally, and you want to meet some new fun people. Yeah, good to see you there, RI Broadcasting. Where are you watching from, RI Broadcasting? And what does the R and the I stand for? Mm-hmm. Let us know all those things. I like your logo, RB.
I like the anchor.
Is it RIB Broadcast, or is maybe the B stands for broadcasting? Oh, Rhode Island Broadcasting. All right. All right. The roadies are in town. All right. I think this is our first connection to Rhode Island. So now you've got welcome. You've got a friend in Toronto. How's the island treating you? Rhode Island. That's like a tiny. Is Rhode Island the smallest state? I think it is the smallest state. It's tiny. It's a tiny, tiny island. If global warming continues and sea levels rise, does Rhode Island stay above water, or are you going to be underwater in 20 years? Not to go dark, but hopefully you're at the high level.
I believe the yes it is response to the smallest state.
Right. Right.
I don't think it's in response to sinking
Right.
in 20 years.
Right. Well, hopefully your studio is in the high ground. Some won't make it. Yeah, there you go. well, hopefully you make it, and hopefully your broadcast antennas are high on the building. So
Yeah.
it's like, everybody to the roof. We're going to continue broadcasting while Rhode Island sinks. Yes. Nice. Well, thank you for joining us. And be sure, as always, let us know if you have any questions. And for everyone listening and or watching, make sure to follow us on all the podcast channels, whatever your favorite podcast platform is. And you can always watch replays of these on Facebook and on YouTube, and hit us up on Instagram at Laughing Vikings. The other thing I wanted to share with you that was a big weekend for me, aside from doing the Comedy Alley shows, I did a weekend intensive with Roger Love, who's a renowned sort of Hollywood celebrity vocal coach. And I did his signature program, weekend intensive here, called Voice of Success. That was all day Friday, all day Saturday, and all day Sunday. And it was amazing. For anyone who doesn't know Roger, he started out as a singer and musician himself when he was very young, started taking voice and speech lessons and coaching. And then quickly, I think as a 16-year-old, became the assistant to the voice coach. I forget who his vocal coach was, but there were schedule conflicts. So his mentor and coach asked him, like, I've got clients, can you run the classes? So I think as like a 16, 17-year-old guy, he was coaching like famous, well-known musicians, ended up being a backup vocalist or co-creator with a lot of them, was on tour. But he's famous for being the Hollywood vocal coach and voice and speech coach. He's coached Reese Witherspoon and Joaquin Phoenix on the Johnny Cash movie, and Brad Cooper and Lady Gaga in the new Star is Born, and who else? A bunch of pop stars, Selena Gomez, I know, maybe Miley Cyrus. You can look him up. Is Roger? I'm sure you'll find him. Roger. Just type in Roger Love or Roger Love Voice of Success. He's kind of one of the go-to guys. So it was great. He's an amazing speaker. He's an amazing vocal coach. He brings people on during the sessions and actually does these quick sort of 15-minute transformations where he gets people to talk to him and share what they feel is the issue with their voices. And he's sort of like our acting coach, Tom, who is also a brilliant voice and speech coach. But he sort of can instantly diagnose people and tweak them and instantly make them sound better, and just boost their performance. So it was brilliant to see him do that kind of stuff. And the cool thing was there's a lot of overlap between what Roger was teaching us on the weekend and what Tom Todoroff teaches us, and all our other vocal coaches teach us too. So it was just a great reminder to all actors out there, and really anyone, that it's your voice is it's your body and your voice. So, but more so it's voice and speech. And I know Tom always reminds us that, like, voice and speech, voice and speech, voice and speech, voice and speech. If you're not working on voice and speech, then you're leaving a lot on the table, and it's just your instrument. So it was a huge, huge reminder of that all weekend. So check out Roger Love. And as always, check out Tom Todoroff's class, the weekly Saturday class, which I had to miss this week. But Brandon, you were on there. It's always transformative. But you go to laughingvikings.com/actors, and you can get a free session with Tom Todoroff. It's the weekly Zoom international actors from all over the world. And there's always a renowned voice and speech coach doing an hour voice and speech class, and text analysis, and also scene study with Tom. So those are brilliant every week, and you can get a freebie and join for free. And you'll see us there every Saturday.
Yeah. Come join us.
Join us, Rhode Island. Yeah, join us. All
right.
Actually, I should actually announce too that I was accepted to the conservatory, to the New York Conservatory, the Todoroff Conservatory. So I'll be starting that mid-September. I'll be starting that.
Mm-hmm.
What does Adam Daniel Mazai say? Bring that last comment up.
Mazai says, you go.
You're referring more to breathing, modulation, projection, etc., not necessarily about accents and dialects, right? In respect of Roger's work, that's what you meant about Roger doing Johnny on the spot diagnosis of actors' voices, all of that, Adam. He does it all. Like it's breathing, modulation, projection, a lot of the stuff that Tom talks about, pitch, rate, dynamics, inflection. But he works with people on accents. He works with people on dialects, because a lot of it is just it's structure, like speaking accents are in certain parts of the mouth, and you do certain things with your musculature to hit certain accents and or impersonate certain people too. So he covers all of that stuff across the board. And it's not just singers, it's not just acting. A lot of his classes are geared now to people who are podcasting and people who are doing Zooms and live webinars and all that kind of stuff. It was great. It's great. He's top of the line. He's got a ton of free resources out there and some free courses if you want to sort of get an introduction to him. And then I think maybe a couple times a year, he does the weekend intensives that I just went through. Great question. Sounds like my kind of cat. All right. Speaking about my kind of cat, is Sandra in the studio there?
Well, let's play the clip and then we'll figure.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
There she is.
There she is. All right. You want to set this clip up here?
This is from Sandra's album. It is called Tomato Sauce Season. And we all know how Italians love their sauce. Ready? And rolling the clip.
Okay, so it's tomato sauce season. Okay? It's one of the most anticipated times of the year. All right? Like, we buy bushels of tomatoes. We put them through a tomato mill. We boil them in a big cauldron like a bunch of witches. Oh, yeah. And then we jar them, and then we put them in the cantina with the prosciutto, you know? And the tomato mill is made, well, my dad made it, and the motor is from the first washing machine we ever had, so very homemade, you know? And we set up our production line, like, in the garage so that we don't get the house dirty. Isn't that fucked? Like, that's usually the dirtiest place in the house, but not for Italians, all right? Like, I even took the vacuum cleaner to it this year. Do you know how fucked that is? While we were waiting for the juice to boil, I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna vacuum this place, you know? And we owe this time of year to Christopher Columbus more than any other time, okay? It's true, because before Christopher Columbus came to North America, there were no tomatoes in Italy, all right? I don't know if anybody knows this, but the tomato is native of North America. And when I tell an Italian person this, it's like I told them they're adopted, you know? Like, they can't imagine a time before sauce, okay? It's inconceivable, you know? That's why they call it pomodoro, because they didn't have, which means golden apples, because they didn't have a name for it, okay? And like, this time of year really gets my blood boiling, okay? Because it's an event, tomato sauce making, that takes an entire day, and there's no way of getting out of it. There's like nothing, there's hardly a circumstance that's eligible to get out of this event, okay? There's 3 things you can't get out of in my house: a wedding, a funeral, and tomato sauce, okay? It's true. Last year, my mother had heart surgery, okay? And it, like, turned our whole life upside down. Me and my sister basically had to become my mother and to make sure that my father's sketch would stay intact, okay? This fucking guy, honest to God, okay? The kind of routine he has for bed is insane, okay? Cream on his feet, eucalyptus on his back, drops in his eyes, okay? He's like the Julius Caesar of 905, right? It's true. And when he wants you to do something for him, he's really sneaky because he never explains what it is. He'll be like, Sandra, can you come to the backyard for my notes? So I go for my notes, right? And he's like, okay. He goes, you see that contain? Fill them up. So I fill them up, right? And he goes, okay, now take that pump them up, right? 30 minutes later, I'm spraying the entire garden with homemade insecticide, okay? That he made with dishwashing soap, all right? Like, I was so mad last summer. You can't even believe. I thought I had to quit comedy. And take care of this fucking family, okay? And like, so my mom's recovering in the hospital, and the inevitable conversation about tomato sauce comes up, and my sister is talking like it's happening. I'm like, what is up with this fucking family? So I announce, I'm not making sauce this year. Holy shit. What a blow. What a blow to the family. They thought I was insane. And my mother, still with the tubes in, okay? It's like, oh yeah? What are you gonna do when you wanna eat some sauce? Yeah, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? I had no choice. I had to fucking make sauce. Okay? Unbelievable. Seriously.
Oh.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so pumped to have her on the show. She's a Canadian Comedy Award winner. She's done all the festivals in Canada. She's a regular here at Laughing Vikings and in Comedy Alley. She was the first president and helped start the Canadian Association of Stand-Up Comedians, which is responsible for helping to get comedy recognized as an art form in Canada and helping to get comedians paid and raise our level of standard of living here in Canada. You guys are going to love her. Please bring her in. Give it up for Sandra Battaglini, everybody.
Hey!
There she is.
Oh, look at that.
Hey, welcome.
How's it going?
Good. You were able to take some time away from the sauce to be with us tonight?
Yeah, well, the sauce is going to happen this weekend. Coincidentally, you play that fucking clip.
Wow.
Honest to God.
Wow.
Like, it better not be hot like today because I'm going to lose my shit. Let me see. What are they saying? Friday is saying 23. Thank God. Oh, my God. This weather is fucking crazy.
I was half expecting you to pick up your phone and be like, Friday, make sauce. Saturday, make sauce. Sunday, make sauce.
Right. Just
Yeah, it's a one-day event, but it's really 2 days because you got to buy the tomatoes and then you got to wash them. Listen, you can't. But then when you just need sauce, all you got to do is go get it in the fucking cantina or here in a cupboard. It's like you can't. That's why you go through the pain.
how much do you actually make? Like, what's the yield?
Like maybe 100 jars. Some people do hundreds of them, but I don't think my mom is going to do that many this year. She said, I know every year's different. So she still has some from last year.
Is it like a signature secret blend? Like you have the way you do it, or you like mix it up every year, or
do we change it every year? Like it's not like sauce. Like, it's the base.
I got you.
It's just boiled tomato, tomato juice, right? The juice from the tomato that we put like olive oil and basil in and a couple other spices. And then when it's been boiled long enough, then you just put in the jar and it's, you're canning them. So then that's like preserving them. And then, yeah.
And where are they available for sale?
No place.
Jim Tooby wants to buy some. He says
how much does he want to pay?
He says I like the sauce, but I feel like he's referring to whiskey and vodka, to be honest with you. Now that I see that, yeah, I think. Have you ever added? Do you add a little booze? You make a boozy tomato?
No, I've never done that.
Well, there you go. What would you add? What's
I'm gonna try this year, Sandra.
What's an Italian liquor?
I wouldn't fucking do that at all. I wouldn't even try it. No.
Vodka sauce. Yeah.
There's some things you have to be sacred over.
You don't mess with that. Yeah.
No, I mean, wine. Wine is good with sauce.
Right. There you go.
Yeah, definitely. Then I use wine. Yeah. But I mean, I think, there's actually marsala and then vodka, pasta, but that's like vodka on its own, not with tomato sauce.
Right.
Well, maybe you could. I don't know. You know what? It's a whole other,
We'll have to research it. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
It's a whole world of possibilities.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's great to have you here, Sandra. We got a lot to talk about career-wise, and we always go back through talking to how people got started and what their future aspirations are. But the first segment is something that we call the 1 minute life story. That's where Brandon throws a minute up on a stopwatch for you, and you've got a minute to tell us Sandra Battaglini's life story from birth right up until now. So here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Sandra Battaglini's 1 minute life story starting now.
So I was born in Sudbury, Ontario on June 8th, 1971 to my parents, Attilio and Lena. And I grew up there until I lived there until I was 25 and then moved to Toronto to do a marketing diploma degree. I stayed in Toronto, Sudbury until I was 25 and did my master's and undergraduate in political science and history. Came to Toronto, did a marketing thing, and then while one of my first jobs, I went to see the Second City, and then I heard about their classes. I took those classes, then I became a comedian. Blah blah blah. I mean, I don't know. Should I have said more? My parents are immigrants from Italy, from Abruzzo, which is right underneath Rome. I have lots of family there. We got family over here. I feel like I mean, what else can I say? I live in Toronto. I like to eat food. I don't know. 58, 59. Fuck.
Ding, 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 ding.
Bada
That
boom.
was Sandra Battaglini's 1 minute life story. Were you born in Sudbury, or you just went to school in Sudbury?
No, I was born there.
Wow. I thought all Toronto Italians were born in Woodbridge for some reason. I thought that's where you were all native from. So you were born. What was your dad and what were your parents doing there? Did your dad work in the mines or something?
Yeah, like that's the older, like that's when Italians first came to Canada. That's where they went, to the north.
Right.
Because they were
Right.
in the late 1800s. They were working on the railway, like in the logging and the forestry, and then eventually when they were building the railroad through which is now what is Sudbury, they discovered nickel, and then that's where the mining started. So lots of Italian immigrants there. So yeah, my father came post World War II, so there was another wave, obviously.
Right.
That's the bigger wave where a lot of people came here to Toronto, but my dad, but a lot of people went to Sudbury too because it was mine.
Right.
And,
Yeah, there was work, right? And
Yeah, it was like
Sault
the
Ste.
best-
Marie as well. And Sault Ste. Marie, there's a really large.
Thunder Bay,
yeah.
North Bay. Oh yeah, we're everywhere. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, everywhere needs sauce, so we're lucky to have you guys.
Yeah.
Look, we got some rave reviews about Italians here. Look at this. Lots of Italians are in Sudbury, and OG Italians. That's how they got to BC as well. Remember skateboarder Ross Battaglini? He was Italian. Yeah. Nice.
Is Adam? Are you Italian? Mezze? No, I don't know.
Is he Italian? Yeah. RI Broadcasting.
Yes, in Russia they do. Vodka definitely goes with mining.
Nice. So you said I think we actually briefly heard some of your origin story through another podcast when we had Phil Luzzi on the show. But you want to take us back? How did you get into performing? Like, what was your very first performance ever? Whether this was as a child or as you started to get into things more professionally. How did you?
Well, when I was a kid, we took Russian style ballet, if you could believe it. And I was this chubby kid, and I couldn't even do all the moves because I was like, my stomach's too full. And then I liked it, but then I was like, I'm done with this. So my very first recital, I got stage fright, and I didn't want to go on stage. And my mom's like, okay, she didn't force me. Can you imagine? And then it wasn't until I was in university and with the Italian his theater company there, because I took also Italian in university, and I did some plays, and they were all Italian plays, like playwrights from Italy. And then when I moved to Toronto, I wanted to do some theater. Like I was like, and then I worked at this one branding place, and the woman that I worked for, her niece, I think she was a circus performer or street performer. Anyways, she was coming, and she wanted to go to Second City. And my boss had told me about how like Second City had classes for business people to make them more agile, And then when we went to go see a show, I lost my mind. And then I signed up for their training center. Like I signed up, and then I took like a year, so like level A to E. So at the end of 2000, I had my first show. And then when I stepped on stage, I was like, ooh. And that was it. So I started doing and then I started doing and then I went to conservatory. But then at that point in 2001, I started doing these variety shows with a couple of people that I was had taken classes with. And it was called So You Want to Be a Comedy? Because that's what my dad said to me at one point. He's like, so you want to be a comedy? So yeah, so then we did those shows, and I just started performing. And then I tried stand-up for the first time at the Laugh Resort, and it didn't go so great. Like I told this story that was like, it was more of I just told a story. And then the second time I did a show, I did it at Yuck Yucks, and it was still one of the best shows I ever did. So it was like, I talked about my dad. And I mean, I talked about other things, but like, it was just like one of those nights. I remember Jack, who also, Jack Norman was like, when I got off stage, he's like, and ladies and gentlemen, that's her second time doing comedy. And I was like, and it was just a special night. I can still see people and like stuff. So yeah, that's my origin.
And you were hooked just got addicted. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I tried, you know, I auditioned for the touring company of Second City, and they hired me for Tony and Tina's wedding, which is where I met Phil.
Right. Yeah, because Phil, you were doing the show, and Phil was in the audience. Like it was a corporate show, I think, and he said he was in the audience.
It was just a regular
just
show,
a
but he
public
took
show.
the people that he worked with there.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. For those who don't know, Phil Luzzi is a fantastic actor and comedian. We've had him on the podcast. And he met you initially, and then you guys went on. You were doing your Sal and Sandy's wedding. Is that what it was called?
No, Tony and Tina's.
Tony. Oh yeah. What's Sal and Sandy? Is that something else?
Show was the show we did, our show.
Oh right, yeah. Tony. Yeah,
the show we created.
Right.
Yeah, Tony and Tina's wedding is where we met. Yeah.
Right.
Throughout the years, I've always found more and more people that have worked on Tony and Tina's wedding. Because when I was growing up, my mom could not stop talking about Tony and Tina's wedding. She loved that show. She went to see it 3 or 4 times, I believe.
Wow.
And
I know, like people loved it. They came all the time.
She talked about it incessantly. And like she would always be like, "Oh, it was so funny this time. They came and sat down with us. Oh my God. Oh, Brandon, you need to start doing shows like these. Oh my God, what is this?"
Yeah, and you know, like it was like we were in the Second City building, and Second City looked down on it, but it really was paying the rent for the building. You know, like the people on the main stage, like we were literally the second class show. Like we came up through the back stairs. You know, like we were, but it was it was such a funny show. Like I did it for almost 2 years. Like there were people there that had been doing it for 6 years, which by the time I decided to leave, just that thought made me nuts. Because I was like, I can't listen to this fucking song anymore. I can't do this anymore. So yeah.
How many shows do you
over and over again?
What's that?
You can't go to the same wedding over and over and over.
I know. Do that same show all the time. Are you fucking crazy?
If you were to guesstimate, how many performances did you do?
Well, that show ran, I think every day, or there wasn't a show Sunday. For a time, there were 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday, and all week. So I think there was 1 day that we didn't work, 1 day a week. So I don't know.
That's a good chunk.
Yeah. And I was underpaid, and I still remember, like, I'm like, this building is going down when, I remember walking down one of the like this was after SARS, coincidentally, or during SARS, or whatever. It happened then, but like I'm walking through the hallway and like there's like it just was dirty and like I can't remember what was. I couldn't order a pencil. Like I wasn't able to get supplies for something, and I was like, oh, okay, I've been part of sinking ships before. This is a sinking ship.
Like they wouldn't greenlight the budget for pencils, you mean?
Yeah, like you couldn't. Yeah, it was like everything had just gotten. Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow. We've exhausted our pencil budget.
Yeah. Like you know, when that whole thing came out with Second City, you know, with the racism that happened there. Remember that was like during the last year and a half. Like nobody's brought up, you know, the Tony and Tina's wedding and how that show was treated there. Like people haven't brought that up, but that was like, yeah, there was a lot of mistreatment for sure. Like it was so fun, and I mean, look, I met Phil, like the shit that we used to do, but like truly, you know, it was
right.
Yeah.
Was that your first paid gig, Sandra?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think yes, because then I got an agent. She had come to the show, Stephen Mann's sister.
Mm-hmm.
And so she came to the show and signed up a bunch of people. So it was like, yeah, that was my first. Was she my first agent? No, I think I had another agent before her, but I don't remember her name because it was terrible. You know those agents where you're like, they just take on like I had no gigs up until, you know what I mean?
Right, like where you pay them for headshots basically, and
yeah,
that's the deal. Yeah. What was your first? Do you remember your first paid stand-up gig?
No.
It was a while ago, was it?
Yeah. No idea.
So tell us, what do we got next lined up there, Brandon?
What is the most interesting place that you've performed, Sandra? Now, this could be something that has negatively happened and that you can never forget it, or something that's a very positive experience for you, but it was just a weird atmosphere and weird venue.
Well, I think the most interesting place was Zero Gravity Circus, like the circus that's now called the Redwood at Gerard and Greenwood. Yeah, that was. So I'm also a clown. So yeah, I did stand up, but when I was in Tony and Tina's wedding is when I studied clown, because like, I had a gig at night. So during the day for 5 weeks, I studied like pachinko clown. And like, oh my God, it was honestly, because Toronto is a real center of clown in the world. So there were people here from all over the world. And it was just like one of those, it was so amazing. So anyways, almost from the get-go, when I started producing shows, like, and started going on the scene, I'd see Mark Andrada, and he would do clown turns like in non-clown venues. He was kind of the only person doing that. But then I was like, I started going to clown shows, and I'm like, this is the best shit in the world. And I studied clown, and then Zero Gravity, I think they started doing, or it was called Lunacy Cabaret. They started doing shows at Zero Gravity, or the Center of Gravity rather. Zero Gravity was the agency, because I was also on their roster. And then there was a monthly cabaret show there, and it was nuts, like nuts. I couldn't, like, to explain it is just crazy. It was like, it's satire and circus. So that you'd see people like, juggling chainsaws and doing like wild fire routines and burlesque. And then we would do like crazy clown and like, it was wild. Like, and the parties, bro, I never knew all those drugs existed. Like, people would do so many drugs that they would collapse on the ground. And I'm like, this is fucked. So yeah, that place is, and I'm going to be filming my stand-up special there on September 25th. So it's called Haunted House. And I'm going to have two. We're doing one at 7 and 9:30. And then recording an album at the same time.
Amazing.
Nice.
Amazing. Say the date again, September 25th.
September 25th.
At the Redwood Theater, which is, that's Gerard and like Greenwood-ish, right?
Yeah, exactly there. It's just yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful space too. I haven't done stand up there, but I did a live sort of immersive interactive theater show that was it's called The Movie Experience, and we did a live version of Princess Bride. And it's sort of a multimedia thing where they show the movie, but then at certain breaks in the movie, the movie would stop, and then the actual live actors would all walk on stage, and we would reenact like verbatim to the beat, to the moment, exactly how the movie was. So it was this cool, immersive, interactive, and they built set pieces that were just like in the movie. It was super cool. That space is beautiful. And the Zero Gravity thing, that's the what do they call them? Like silks from the roof, where people are twirling and climbing up there. Yeah. Crazy. Yeah. Toronto has too much talent, I think. Too much talent.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like these scenes that are like, the history is wild.
Adam says he saw Ghostbusters. Yeah, that was the next show after Princess Bride. They did Ghostbusters there as well, which was super cool.
We also have a question, Sandra. Is there any red lines for you in comedy? So is there any lines that you don't want to cross, or any lines that you feel are forbidden?
No. Like on subject matter? No. I mean, if there's something to talk about, there's not really. No. Sweet. I mean, I don't know what those lines are, because I don't know what what do they mean by a red line?
Right. Yeah. I think it's the kind of thing, if you can talk about anything, if it ends up being funny, if you try to talk about something that's horrible and it ends up not being funny, then you kind of failed there.
It's sacred. I mean, I think if you do it with hatred, then that's the problem. So that's a red line, hatred.
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah, the point needs to be, I'm talking about this to entertain and to make light of something and to get a laugh and unite a crowd and make sure everyone has a fun time.
Yeah, or make make a point, satire, political comment, release, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Now, Sandra, is there any dream projects that you have been wanting to create and that you've been aspiring to work towards for the past couple of years? Or is this comedy show or the album that you're working on now the thing that you've been most excited for?
No, like that. I mean, I'm totally excited. I wanted to do this a couple of years ago, but then obviously everything went nuts. And so no, like I have like, I've been working on a screenplay. I've got like several TV concepts that, I have been working on. There's one concept in particular. It's a concept about this that theater, and the one I just mentioned. That's something that I would love to see. I mean, I'd love them all to happen. Let's be honest. Yeah, I'd love to. Dream project would be create a TV show, make it happen. Many of those.
Well, Sandra, I'll tell you, when Laughing Vikings gets to the point where we're like Netflix, you'll be one of the people that we just green light. We'll be like,
is that what you're doing?
Let's give Sandra $50 million to make 6 features, 5 stand-up specials, and a sitcom and a cartoon. Yeah.
Is that the trajectory of Laughing Vikings? Is that what you guys want to be?
My goal personally for Laughing Vikings is to get it like Happy Madison Productions or Kevin Hart's Heartbeat Productions, where I'm producing things casting my friends and green lighting their projects or co-producing their projects. I think that's the ultimate goal. Like every actor or comedian, at some point they get to the level where they're not auditioning, they're writing and creating and or producing and or directing their own projects. And I think that's where I would like to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And you'll be on the list. So just
I've got so many pitches, you can't even, but the problem in Canada is they don't make a lot of stuff. So
right.
I know that's changing, but it's been it's difficult here.
Can you talk a little bit about CASC, which was Canadian Association of Stand-Up Comedians, how that came about, and maybe to the lay people who aren't in the industry, just sort of what that was all about and why it was organized, the results, and sort of what you were fighting for there, and what's still happening?
So in 2016, I wrote a letter to the Prime Minister, called Just a Little Reciprocity. And it was just like an open letter to say, hey, bro, we don't get funding. We can't cross the border easily at all. Because it was just like, I wrote this letter and, it took me months to write. I needed to do all the research, right? My history background. And I just wanted to really know, like, what are the rules? Like, what do Americans need when they come here? And what are the, So then I just started this crazy road of, oh my God, insanity. So I wrote this letter, I put it out there, and then it went viral, and people were like, I was so nervous, but I was like, I couldn't list like these what's the word? Laments or grievances I'd heard from when I first started comedy, and it just seemed so unfair. I'm like, something's really wrong here, And so I wrote that letter, it went viral, and then, then I was on a couple of shows, radio shows. And then I met with my MP and, I said, hey, if you, see Justin, can you send him this letter? And she's like, sure, but I want to learn more. Can we have a coffee? So we sat down and then, she had mentioned something. She's like, look, I know that there is stand-up in Canada, in Toronto, but I don't know anything else. Like, I don't know anything about it. So that also made me realize too, like how nobody knew what was going on. Like the world doesn't know because actors, comedians, we don't want to be like, to complain or call out the industry because we're afraid we're going to lose work. But guess what? Everything disappeared. The industry disappeared because we stayed silent, which is currently what's happening on the planet. People stay silent and then there's a fire at their door and they're like, oh, fuck, I should have done something. So anyways, I didn't intend for any of this. Do you think like I would intend to start an association? Are you crazy? So then when the letter, so then all this started happening and then, I met with a couple of like all sorts of people and like met with some politicians and they were like, start an association because this way, like it's not just Sandra Battaglini lobbying. And and basically when we launched in 2017, I'm just lighting an incense.
Nice.
Wow, that looks really great. I'm also high. Whoa! I'm on fire. Wait, what about my third eye? Wait,
that's the episode
Woo!
screenshot right there. That's the episode thumbnail, Brandon.
Oh my God, how did I? And I'm high too. I was gonna do it to you guys, but it's not gonna show. How hilarious! I thought I could do it to you guys.
Yeah, that's not how the internet works. You can't pass fire through the
Yeah. I know, but like whatever. I'm high. I should be able to. So in February 2017, we formed we launched the association and we launched a petition to have comedy recognized as an art form. So it's like an e-petition. So it's done through the government, which is what like Julie DeBruce, my MP, she helped all that along. And then the reason we did an e-petition instead of one of those other petitions, what are they called? The ones that are on those sites, those famous petition websites.
Right.
Yeah, the reason we didn't do that was because this one would be tabled in the House of Commons, and that's what happened. And it got a standing ovation, and anyways, all these things. And then we hired these lobbyists. They reached out to us. This was 2017. NAFTA was being renegotiated. They told us, look, labor mobility is a top priority for the Canadian team. So we think we can help you. And I lobbied my executive to hire these lobbyists, and we had no money. And the lobbyists were like, it's fine, you guys can pay us later. But I knew we were going to get money. Like everything about this whole thing, it's like a psychic. It's like I always just see it. It's just like, and I don't doubt it ever. It's like I see it all. I met with this person, Zach Layton, who's been like an amazing ally from the music lobby side, but music production side. He's amazing. And it was like meeting with a couple of music people. They've been our biggest allies, supporters, and like basically the way that music, the lobbying that music did in Canada, and the music industry is the trajectory that we've been on, and and then for 5 years I lobbied it was crazy, like full time almost, sometimes, but it was what I did. I was the president, the spokesperson, the executive director, if you will, and then I served like a 4-year term, and then I just stepped down last December, but I still work on a couple of issues, but yeah.
Huge, yeah, and they also were part of a documentary sort of about all this called The Mayor of Comedy. What's the website that people would go to
Mayor of Comedy, mayorofcomedy.com. Yeah, I made that documentary with the filmmaker is Matt Kelly, who's like a close friend. He's amazing. So I helped make that. Yeah.
Mayorofcomedy.com.
Yeah.
Right. And one thing that I should mention, it was amazing that you did that. I became a member very quickly. And one of the biggest things that happened is, I guess it was a couple years ago, maybe a year pre-COVID, there was a deal between SiriusXM and Just for Laughs that was essentially going to result in a ton of Canadian comics losing their monthly streaming royalty checks. And you were able to sort of mobilize Cask and mobilize all these comedian voices to fight that. And you were able to bring Sirius and Just for Laughs together to the table, and it ended up sort of saving thousands and thousands of royalty dollars, which now you think of it in retrospect, for some of those comedians, that royalty money was paying their mortgages and putting food on their table for their kids. Had that not happened, and then COVID happened, there would have been people losing their homes more so than maybe what happened. And it would have been because every comedian lost all of their live gigs. So if you were an older kind of road dog type comedian where their money was on the road and these streaming royalties and not much in between, they would have been wiped out at that point. So kudos to you, and thank you for all that. That was, in retrospect, that was huge.
Yeah, because when you see that during the pandemic, it's during this last year and a half, we didn't, because we don't qualify for grants, there was no access there. Musicians and other artists, all they had to do was just apply, and then they got relief money. And we lobbied aggressively. Like that was the biggest, yeah, that's what the documentary is. That was the biggest lobby effort. And it was so frustrating in the end when they were like, yeah, no, we're not going to extend any of this, relief money on top. You know what I mean? Like the what did they call it? Well, it's kind of relief. I can't remember exactly. Bailout, not a bailout, but whatever. Right. And, we lobby them like, hey, some of that go to comedians and venues. And it just basically went to a lot of the same people that get money. Mm-hmm. But like apparently this fall, Canada Council is supposed to announce a new structure, and we have it on very good word, like that something significant will change, but we'll see. I've met with, many departments that, Department of Finance, of Immigration, of, the Department of Heritage, Foreign Affairs, and Canada Council for the Arts, and I like them the least. Like, I didn't like them. And I always say that, and maybe that, but I'm like, there's a real prejudice to what we do and then not an understanding of it. But like, that's fine. When we didn't speak up about it. Nobody knew what our issues were. Mm-hmm. And that's always speak up. Like, it's not something that it's not like something that I chose to do to like, I did choose obviously all the time to keep working on it, but it was something that came through me. And it was like, when I stepped down, people are like, why did you step down? Like, did something happen? I was like, no, it's time for me to move on. Like, This is all of ours. I just started it. So what? Like, let's move. It is our right to, what's the word? Lobby for ourselves, negotiate for ourselves. All other workers do this. And, the last, maybe the last 50 years, but in the last 10, 20 years, workers' rights have evaporated. And then now you see in the last year and a half, who fucking profited the most? These corporations that were allowed to. Well, that's like, we get like, sure, they really have, came after us like hounds. You know what I mean? But now it's time for us to get it back.
Love it.
And for never to go back the way it was.
You might have to graduate from mayor of comedy to prime minister of comedy at some point. But your successor, the new president of Cask, is Monty Scott, who's an amazing comedian and just the best guy. Everybody loves Monty. So the organization is in great hands, and I know you're still very much a part of that as well too. So thank you for everything you've done there, and I'm sure the future will continue to improve things. We've got, I think we're coming down to the wire here on a final question. We always like to ask people, what advice were you to give to either aspiring comedians, actors, or people maybe who are currently an actor or a comedian, but what advice would you give to them about either getting started or getting to the next level?
Just do it until you don't like it. And so if you always like it, just do it. Don't do it for anything other than the art and the joy. Because I think what the last year and a half is showing us is just like the illusion of what we were all kind of going after. And like, what is that? In Canada, we have like a very limited structure to, to create anything bigger. So a lot of people, it really debilitates people, but it's like, it doesn't matter. If this is your art, this is your voice, just tell your stories. If you're compelled to, and have no expectation. I know that sounds insane, but like, it is really it.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
I love that.
Great. Tell your story. All right, Brandon, you got something for us to wrap up?
Yeah, I do have a quote to inspire our week, which comes from Tom Todoroff. Love takes time. Love makes time. Give time for yourself. Give time for your family. Give time for the people that love you. Don't let other people take your time away from you. Don't dwell on the things that you can't control. Don't let other people bring you down. Don't let your own mind bring you down, because I know that happens to me a lot. Let yourself be who you are. take the time to really find the things that you love in life, because the more that you find that, the more that you fight for that, the happier you'll be.
Boom. Couldn't have said it better. Sha-la-la-la. Yeah, that's great. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I mean, love takes time and love makes time. When you really love something, you put in time for it, and the more time you put into something, the more your love can grow from that time as well, whether it's comedy or tomato sauce.
What
Exactly.
the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little love. But the world.
Yes, beautiful.
I know, it's true. Honestly, if you listen to all the gurus, the only revolution that's going to happen is of the spirit of love. Because what else have we got? What are you going to do? I'm going to invent another nuclear bomb? Get the fuck out of here. I don't want to hear these fucking people anymore. Yippity yap. Oh, I want to scare you. Fuck you.
Right.
Your fear is not real.
Yeah. I see that in like newspaper articles or like online, not newspaper, but online, where it's like they'll talk about a country who just ordered 50 new nuclear submarines or a new battleship or something. I'm like, well, that in and of itself should be illegal. Like why are you ordering nuclear missiles and ships? Like, that's clearly the wrong direction. That's a whole other episode, I think. So,
imagine you don't even have to make it illegal because nobody wants them anymore.
Right. Yeah. It's just like, why would we even waste billions of dollars on that? That's so
like with the ego to create something to like destroy things. That's fucked. So I know, I know people believe we need these things, but
not really.
No.
We just need love.
Yes.
Sweet love. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Be sure to follow Sandra Battaglini everywhere, at Sandra Battaglini on Instagram. You can check out mayorofcomedy.com. And certainly go to laughingvikings.com for Comedy Alley tickets. If you're an actor, you can go to laughingvikings.com/gift, and we will give you your first self-tape session on the house here at the studio. If you're in Toronto, or if you're not in Toronto, we do them remotely via Zoom too. So if you're an actor anywhere in the world, we can hook up and help you with that. And follow us on all the podcast places. All right. Good night, everyone. That was episode 47. We'll see you next Monday.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Goodbye. Thanks, Sandra.